So we are excited to get started. We have a great program for you today. So my name is Caitlin McKeegan. I am an Extension Master Gardener. These plant clinics are sponsored by the Virginia Cooperative Extension program of Virginia's two land-grant universities, Virginia Tech and Virginia State University. These plant clinics are staffed by Master Gardeners from Fairfax County Master Gardeners who share science-based information about gardening and horticulture topics. We're going to start with Bug Watch. This is something new we're doing this year to kind of give you an overview of what insects you might be seeing in your garden. So Amanda, you're going to discuss ladybugs tonight. We kind of know, everyone knows what a ladybug looks like, but maybe we don't really know what they look like in all their life and stages of life. So if you could tell us more about these iconic insects, we would appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah, I have a couple of interesting facts about ladybugs. There were three things that I wanted to touch on, and I only have a minute or two, so I'm going to make this quick. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what ladybugs eat, what they look like in every stage of their life cycle, and what we can do to attract more of them to our gardens. So ladybugs really have two main food sources. They eat pollen and they eat insects. And the latter is really what makes them so beneficial in our gardens, because the bugs they like to eat are the ones that cause damage to our plants. They particularly prefer aphids, but they also eat scale insects, spider mites, and whiteflies. So knowing that they're so beneficial, it's important to recognize what they look like so we can protect them when we find them. And that sounds a little silly because I think most of us can identify an adult ladybug, but I think many people might not realize that ladybugs have a 4-stage life cycle, just like butterflies do. It starts in the spring when the adult ladybugs emerge from hibernation and lay eggs in clusters, like you can see on the top left picture there. They're tiny and they're sort of orange or orangey yellow. And after a few days, they hatch into the larvae you can see on the top right. These are pretty small. They're about 1/4 inch long. They have black bodies with orange or red markings on the sides. Some people compare them to tiny little alligators. And in this stage, they're extremely active. They crawl around hunting for food. And this is actually the most valuable stage of the ladybug's life cycle, because when they're larvae, they'll eat about 200 aphids a day, which is about 10 times what they eat as adults. So when you see those, you really want to protect them. From the larva stage, after about 2 or 3 weeks, they find a fixed spot where they pupate, and after about a week or two, they emerge as the adult ladybug that we all know and love. So I think we can all use more ladybugs in our garden. So I did a little research to see what, if anything, we could do to attract them. And I found 2 recommendations for things we can try. And the first is to plant the flowers that are good sources of the pollen and nectar that they like. And this is particularly helpful in early spring when the populations of the insects that they eat aren't very abundant. So I have on the right side of the slide here a list of the plants that attract ladybugs. They tend to be plants that have tiny flowers, things like herbs, things in the herb family like cilantro and dill, fennel, chives, daisy-shaped flowers like coneflowers and zinnias, and then flowers that are umbrella-shaped like yarrow and dill. And the other recommendation I saw was to be very cautious when using pesticides, because most chemical pesticides will eliminate ladybug populations right along with the insects that you're trying to target. So it's better to opt for ones that are a little bit gentler, like horticultural oils or insecticidal soaps. So that is my Ladybug 101 in a nutshell.
Thanks, Amanda. That's really great, and a lot of information that maybe a lot of us didn't know or weren't aware of. So thank you so much for that quick overview.